Hello everybody. So today what we're going to look at is how to do those mystery pixel art pictures. So what I did first was I created my whole setup, what I wanted it to look like. So you can see I added a lot of columns here over on this side. I made sure that they were kind of all the same length and width. And then over here I have some like this one that's wider and this one that is also why I just made this column wider because that's where my answers are going to be. So I did this by merging cells, which is if I want to do that, I'm highlighting and dragging, and then I'm going up here and using this merge to make it be one square or one space. And then in each one of these, I inserted an image of a fraction because I wanted my students to be able to name fractions based off of an image. And how I did that was once I had merged those cells and had my space, I just went here and I did insert, image in cell, and then I actually just did a Google image search to find the images that I wanted. You won't always be able to find what you're looking for in here, so you can always get those images elsewhere and paste them back in here. A couple of these I actually created and screenshotted so I could have exactly what I wanted them to look like. So I built my basic worksheet, essentially, I guess you could call it. And then I just kind of drew using these pixels to create my little winking smiley face that I made on the side over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how you can use something called conditional formatting, which is like an if-then statement, to tell my sheet to create this picture when students put in correct answers. So my whole thing is created. I have my correct answers in here, and I actually colored in each box. You'll see I used my little fill tool and I colored in each box green, and that's because I want it to be green when students type in the correct answer. And so I'll show you exactly how this is going to work. So I'm going to delete a couple that I've already formatted so you can just kind of see it in action. So this is how I'm going to give them the sheet. It will have no answers in it, and you'll see that everything is red. Now, if I type in anything but the correct answer, let's say I type in 7/8, nothing's going to happen. It's going to stay red. However, if they type in the correct answer, 3/4, it's not only going to turn green, but the pixels are going to start appearing on the left-hand side. So how did I do that? Let's take a look. I'll start here with my 2/3. So I'm going to click on this box and I'm going to say format conditional formatting. So I'm going to start with formatting where I want this box to be green only if it has the correct answer. So I'm going to do a custom formula, and then I'm going to say equals, and you'll see here that this is AA, and it's also rows 22, 23, 24. I don't need to put in the rows 22, 23, and 24 because whatever formatting is in the topmost cell will apply to this whole little range since they are merged together. So I'm going to do something. This formula is going to go $AA because that's the column that it's in, and then $22 because that's that cell. And then I'm going to use this thing here. I'm going to say does not equal 2. So what I'm doing is I'm telling them if this cell does not equal 2, I want it to be marked incorrect. I want it to fill in red. So let's apply that here and let's watch what happens when I remove this number. Okay, you can see it changes color. If I put the 2 back in, it turns green again. If I put a different number in, it will turn red. So I'm essentially just telling my sheet, if this box doesn't contain the number I want it to, I want this to be red. Otherwise, it can be the color that I had put in there myself. Now, we also want to format pixels on this side to show up as well. So I'm going to copy this custom formula because I'm going to use it again here. And over here on the side, I want to select a bunch of different cells. So I'm going to select one cell and then I'm going to hold down my command key. And I'm just going to randomly click all over and I'm going to add another rule. Again, custom formula. I copied it because I'm still dealing with the same thing. I'm saying if that does not equal 2, in this case, I'm going to say if that does not equal 2, I want all of these cells that I just selected to be white. And you can see how all those cells just lost their color because my A22 cell does not currently contain the number 2. Okay, so I'll continue on. Let's just kind of walk through that process one more time. So here my correct answer is 3. So I'm going to format, conditional formatting. Custom formula is, say, equals $. I'm still in column AA. $. Let's see, my uppermost cell here is 26. Does not equal 3. So if this does not equal 3, I want it to be marked wrong and turn red. Copy this because I'm going to use it again for my pixels. Then I'm going to go over here and again, Command key. And I'm going to select a bunch of random pixels. I'm going to add another rule, custom formula. I'm just going to paste it and I'm going to say if that cell does not equal 3, I want these to be white. Done. And then let's check it by just deleting that number from the cell. And it turns red. A bunch of my pixels disappeared. So I'm going to just repeat that process for each one of these, and I'm going to make sure that by the end I have selected every single cell in here. If I want to go back in and add some, it's really easy. So if I want to go back up here, if I just want to, I can just click on one of these. Look at my format, conditional formatting. You can see I already have that rule here. I can always go in and look at my range and hit that Command key, and I can add some more cells to that range. So when I get done, if my last few, I think, wow, I have way too many pixels left and I want to distribute that a little more evenly, I can go back and add pixels into that conditional formatting. So like I can go into my range here, hit Command and add some cells, hit OK, hit done. And now you'll see that those cells I just selected are also white. So you can always go back in and format that conditional formatting again. You can add more cells for it to apply to. This can be really widely used. You can use this for math. I've used this for language arts. If you want, you can even use this as if you want to insert a drop down. So if you're working with a younger age of students, and there's going to be words that you are anticipating them maybe spelling correctly or adding extra spaces into the cells, making some sort of mistake that will cause that conditional formatting not to work, you can use drop downs for the formulas as well and have them select, a number from a list that will then either turn correct or incorrect. So you can also make these multiple choice as well. I just kind of want to stick with the basics for today. One question I get a lot is, though, how do you come up with these pictures? You can see this one that I've done here is really bare bones. It's really simple, and the template will be linked on the site so that you can grab this template and you can reformat it to do anything else you want to. You can replace these pictures. You can replace these numbers. When you replace the numbers, you would adjust your conditional formatting to accordingly. But one thing that people always ask, like I said, is how do you get these pictures? So one thing that I actually always look up is over here, I look up like perler bead patterns. Remember those perler bead things you used to make back in the 90s? Yeah, check it out. So perler bead patterns are great because they're essentially already something that is pixelated. And so you can kind of look at these and make something based off of them. You can also just look for a pixelated image. So something like this, you can see these perler bead patterns here of Disney princesses. So all of these are a really great way to find kind of fun little patterns and designs, and then it gives you something to go off of when you're creating it. You can also just totally create something from scratch as well. It's definitely up to you. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, this template will be linked on the site so that you can grab a copy of it and kind of play with it if you like. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you have fun creating.